Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. So I'm so excited that you're here. And as you know from the last episode, or maybe you've seen a post on social media, that we had decided to change the name of the podcast from Busy to Balance to Oh How Healthy. And Oh How Healthy is the name of my business that I've been using for the past 5 years now. And the reason why is because we really rebranded and transitioned from the Busy to Balance coaching to primarily health coaching, and specifically, working with busy women, helping them find how to fit healthy eating into their budget and their schedule, no matter how busy or how tight their schedule is or their budget is. So I really just wanted to depict that exact description when someone goes to click on the podcast. So I'm glad to still see you here hanging out, and I hope that was not confusing, the change of the name. But so I'm really excited that you're here for the transition, and I hope that wasn't too confusing with the name. But anyway, today I wanted to come talk about, my goal for this podcast is to keep these episodes short and sweet and to the point, so that, because I know you're busy, I know you don't have the time, and I like to have the podcast element so that you can listen to this on the go. So really quick, I want to share with you 5 tips to break up with your diet. And I know that this is a pretty prevalent thing, especially this time of year when we're all in our bathing suits. We're all, trying to break out those summer clothes and put away the sweaters for this season. And that can be a little bit overwhelming and, frustrating to a lot of us. And I know for me that definitely was something that held me back from truly, having fun or doing, things in the summer. It might have been going to the pool or going to, wherever on a hot night. And I just didn't really feel like wearing short shorts or my bathing suit. And, that some people tell me, they're like, well, what do you mean that you felt weird getting into your bathing suit? Like, you look great. And it really doesn't matter what someone looks like. It's how they feel that they look. And for me, I never truly felt confident or 100% in my skin. And it's still something that I struggle with and battle with and work through. And I know that, definitely cleaning up my nutrition and focusing on filling my body up with nutritious foods and focusing on self-love and self-respect and self-care has helped tremendously. So, it doesn't really matter what someone looks like on the outside. It matters how they feel on the inside. And even if someone, sometimes says, that they feel amazing, that could be a cover up too. There's all these different layers that we experience, especially as women. So I just want to share my truth with you and, what I go through and how I overcame a lot of the struggles that I went through, because, I was at a really unhealthy place with my eating and with past eating disorders and just a poor self-image, how someone could look in the mirror and not see what's truly there. So you really had to work on rewiring your mind. I had to work on just reprogramming how I talked to myself, how I thought of myself, and how I treated myself. So, these tips are, I kind of say whenever I talk about this, it's like my PSA, where I want to say to you that my goal is not to promote weight loss. My goal is not to be here to say, lose weight so you can look like this skinny, model on a magazine. That's not it. My goal is simply just to say to you and teach you how to look and feel your best in your skin so you can show up as the woman, the man, whoever's listening, the teenager, the child that you want to be. And being a young child and still having, I remember, I'm definitely going off on a tangent here, so sorry about that. But, children struggle with this, and teenagers for sure, and women and men. So, if losing weight is going to help you show up a little bit better in your life, if it's going to let you show up with a little more confidence in the boardroom, or go to the playground with your kids with a little more energy, or whatever it is, then that's what I want for you. So these 5 tips to help you break up with you're dieting, that diet mentality, that restrictive mentality, that enough is never enough, where even when you hit your goal weight, it's still not enough mentality. That's what I want you to break up with, okay? So without further ado, and without spending any more of your time, I wanted to share those quick 5 tips with you. And these are really the tips that I have been working with my women inside of Oh How Healthy Insiders, which I will share more about with you. And this is really how I'm able to get them sustainable long-term results instead of the quick fix kind of diet results where it's like, hey, do this for 7 days. Hey, do this for 21 days. Or hey, do this for 3 months. Like, what happens after 7 days, 21 days, 3 months? Like, it has to be a continuous long-term thing so that you can have, something to always be there for you. Because this is a never-ending thing. You want to focus on your health and your nutrition and your wellness for good so that you can forever feel and look your best. All right, so number 1, I always talk about, let me start with saying small, healthy baby swaps, okay? So what this means is a healthy swap, it doesn't mean saying no to what you can't have. It means, sure, if you want something, like let's say your thing is, I don't know, pizza or bagels or brownies or whatever it is, it doesn't mean you can't have that. Because there is a time and a place for that. And that's definitely part of my work that I do, and definitely one of the steps that I go through with someone that inside of, insiders or one-on-one coaching or whatever it is that I work them through. It is definitely part of that. You can have what you want. If you want a brownie, go eat a brownie. If you want pizza, go eat a pizza. It's not going to kill you. As long as we're not doing it every day, eat whatever you want. As soon as you say no, you can't have something, I find that people want it. I know when I say, hey, you're not going to have any sugar for the next 7 days, the first thing that I want is sugar. So why say no to it? It's not really worth it. And there are healthy swaps that you can make so that you can have something sweet and not feel so guilty about it. So step number 1, I just say make small healthy swaps. So for example, if you're guilty indulgence, it's not even really that guilty, but let's say your thing is like fettuccine Alfredo, right? With white pasta, Alfredo sauce, and let's say you love beef meatballs with it, right? And you think like, oh, I really should clean up my diet. This makes me feel heavy and tired, and I know that there's not a lot of nutritional value in it. And so you might, typical, someone who is in the diet mentality might say, all right, I'm going to try this like veggie whole wheat pasta. I'm going to go with a red sauce, a marinara sauce, and I'm going to do turkey meatballs. And so you make like these big swaps where it doesn't have to be like that. You could just maybe swap one of the things out. You can try the new pasta with the Alfredo sauce, or, maybe you want to try zoodles instead of the pasta. So you can do zoodles with the Alfredo sauce, and maybe you wanted to just change the turkey meatballs and have the regular Alfredo sauce and the regular pasta. It's just about making those baby swaps that really make it so much easier. And you can, it's a transitional step, it's just baby steps. And this takes us into point number 2, step number 2, tip number 2 that you go through in order to break up with your diet. And that is, it's not all or nothing, right? It's not 0 to 100. It's about going like 0 to 25 and staying at like 25 until you feel comfortable to go to 50. And then when you're at 50 to go to 75. And then when you're at 75 to go to 100. And even when you're at 100, guess what? There's some days, some weeks that will, put you right back at 15, 25, who knows? But it's just about keep trying to get yourself back up to, the goal is 100. And a good example of this is someone who just joined the Oh How Healthy Insiders group, and she when we start something new, we get very excited and we just want to go all in. We're like, listen, Monday, we're going to go to the gym. We're going to eat smoothies in the morning. We're not going to go out with friends and get pizza for lunch. And we're going to, make all these changes at dinner, and it's just too much. So when she started, she's like, okay, where do I track my food? How do I track my workouts? How many calories do I have to track? Like all this stuff. And I was like, listen, sister, like we are not doing any of that. We cannot go from having Dunkin' Donuts every morning and fast food a few times a night and not working out at all and, not sleeping much to gym every day, smoothies every morning, tracking our food, all that stuff. Like it's not realistic, So I was like, listen, all you have to do is just take photos of healthy swabs throughout the day and share them with me. So I don't care if it's not something from our meal plan that we created. Maybe it's, hey, I wanted to, we went out to pizza with coworkers, and instead of getting white pizza, I got pizza with veggies. Like that is a huge win. That is the kind of baby step that I'm talking about that we need to take in order to get ourselves to where we want to be. It's not saying no to the pizza and just having salad and grilled chicken and oil and vinegar. Like, no. Like, how long can you do that until you binge on a whole pizza? So it's just about these little baby things. And for this woman, she was just so relieved. She was so relieved. She was like, oh my God, thank you. Like, this is actually doable. And it's not that I'm saying anything different than anything she's heard before. It's just that her mindset, most of our mindsets when we're stuck in that diet mindset is, I have to do it all. And that's why we avoid the diet, because we don't want to do it all, because it sounds horrible and restrictive and frustrating. And that's not what I want for you. So, because guess what? I don't live that way, and I don't encourage you to. So it's all about finding a nice balance with everything. All right. Point number 3 is focus on all that you can have versus what you can't have. So something like this an example of this might be, instead of, saying that you can't have dairy, we're not having sugar, we're not doing gluten, or we're not doing this because maybe you have some sort of irritability to it, or maybe you notice that when you do have gluten, it makes you really tired, or when you do have dairy, it makes you really bloated and makes you break out. So you say, oh, I can't have it, like I can't have all this stuff. But instead of doing that, how about we say, focus on all the stuff we can have. And when we do that alone, it makes a world of difference. It just makes you feel so relieved, and your mind really does open up to think about, wow, okay, like I don't want to put the cheese on my salad, so maybe I'll, there's plenty of alternatives, dairy alternatives, or maybe I can choose olives, which give me that salty flavor, or, whatever else it is. And you're like, okay, like this is doable. And it just, makes things a lot easier when you focus on all the fresh fruits and veggies and proteins and nuts and seeds and beautiful plant food that you can have, and you can really have whatever you want. But for example, if you do have to be restricted to certain foods due to dietary restrictions or irritability or anything like that, just focusing on what you can have really helps. Okay, so we are on tip number 4, and these last 2 tips, I don't even know if they are considered tips. They're just like points that I wanted to make that helps someone. It helped me break up with my diet mentality. So my tip or point number 4 is keep going when you would normally stop. And these other points that I made, making these small healthy swaps, going from 0 to 25 and focusing on all you can have, makes going when you would normally stop kind of irrelevant or much easier, because it's not as restrictive or hard on you. But keep going when you would normally stop. Break through that wall of that, that resistance barrier that would normally hold you back. So you're not stopping. You're just coasting through. So, when you think of stopping again, think of how horrible it is to start again. How oh my goodness, what do you mean? I have to stop and start again. My whole thing about this is that when it goes back to when I first started talking in this podcast, it's about finding the self-respect and self-love for yourself. And when you are starting and stopping or wanting to just indulge or binge or whatever it is, first, let me just say that that's okay. That doesn't mean that it's game over. I had 4 pieces of pizza. That means I have to stop. But, traditionally that's that mentality where, okay, I had 4 pieces of pizza, forget it. I might as well have a brownie. I might as well have a soda. I might as well not even bother having my smoothie in the morning. And even if that was the case where you woke up and you're like, damn it, I really overdid it. Who cares? Keep going, keep going, keep going. So that's what I'm saying. Keep going. Don't let it stop you in your tracks, because it does not define you. That one binge or whatever it was, it doesn't define you. Or skipping a workout for 5 days in a row, it doesn't matter. And these things, when you are doing those things, when you are either overindulging and let's say that one pizza, 4 pieces of pizza and the brownie and the soda and skipping breakfast in the morning cause you to spiral and then continue that cycle, and you're forget it. What's the point of even bothering to continue that? So I find that it's either that mentality where you're whatever, I'll get pizza again tomorrow, or yeah, sure, you want to go out to dinner, and it's all or nothing. It's either that kind of mentality, which is not being very nice or kind to ourselves, or you're damn it, I really overdid it and I gained this weight. Now let me restrict and be on this diet and subject myself to only lettuce and grilled chicken and water and black coffee for the next 3 months. And that's really not being nice to yourself either. So what I mean by that is, both restricting and where you're on that diet and indulging and not paying attention to your body at all and not giving a crap is not being nice to your body either. So both of those ways of eating and living are not forms of self-respect. Whereas if you really wanted that pizza that one night where you were really tempted, if you just had it and you treated your body to a pizza because you're human and we love pizza because we're human, and allowing yourself to have it. And even if you wanted 2 pieces or 3 pieces, who cares? Just have it and then say, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk the next day. I'm going to drink extra water. Not that you have to go to the gym and burn it all off either, because you're fine. We're human. We're resilient, and our body is going to be fine. We can do with, an extra 600 calories or whatever it is. Who cares? But, or even if you were not eating cheese and you're damn it, I ate all this cheese. Who gives a crap? Who gives a crap? And so you're resilient and you treat yourself with love and respect when you are you know what, I'm going to do it because I want to do it. And then tomorrow I'm going to treat myself with more respect and maybe go for a nice long walk, or, to have a kombucha and have the probiotics for my belly. And that is an easy way. It might be, a bump in the road that causes you to fall over and scrape your knee, but you just get up and keep walking instead of saying laying there and getting ran over by a car, So just keep going when you normally would stop. Okay. I hope that makes sense to you. And, you can always send me a message if you want clarification, but, just keep going, keep going, keep going. You can do it. And finally, I just wanted to say that these things are, nothing that I'm saying is tremendously complex to do, right? They're easy to do, right? Okay, sure, I can swap out my Alfredo for my red sauce, or I can do these little things, or yeah, sure, I don't have to go all or nothing. That's easy to do, but it's also easy not to do, or we're what is that going to do for me, Jamie? Like, I'm really trying to lose weight here. I actually want to like go all or nothing. Or, how we sometimes do that where someone would recommend us not to do something. And we're like, okay, thanks for the tips. However, I'm going to do it my way. And so these things are easy to do and easy not to do for many different reasons. But, just do the easy thing, just make these baby swaps, because like I'm saying, it's not about starting and stopping or going from 0 to 100 and then falling flat on our face and then having a hard time getting up. So make those small swaps. And even if you want to make like medium-sized swaps, like that's fine too. But, that is what's going to help you keep going in the face of, when those hard times come up. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that these tips or these points or these, little tidbits of information were helpful to you. And I continue to really just emphasize similar points in this podcast. So that's really why I want to transition from the Busy to Balance podcast to this Oh How Healthy podcast, because this podcast is just all about how to find, breaking up with your diet, ditch the diet mentality, how to fit in that healthy lifestyle on a tight budget, on a tight schedule, when you feel like you have no time, when there's so much going on. And I want to be that beacon of light for you, where it's going to encourage you to keep going and be that motivation for you. So that is what I plan to provide you in this podcast. So I hope that, you enjoyed this. I would love any rating or review that you would enjoy giving me. And yeah, I'll catch you all on the next podcast. Bye.